Right now we have Charles Strange, the father of one of the SEALs, who is the principal of this entire event right now online. Charles, welcome to the Savage Nation. Our hearts go out to you. All I can tell you is that millions of people are grieving with you, certainly not feeling what you're feeling. Thank you for being with us on the show.
Thank you for putting it out there. Really appreciate it. We need the United States of America to stand up here and help us out here to get some answers. 30.
This was the largest death of Navy SEALs in the entire history of the SEAL units. Is that correct?
Yes.
And according to this report, Michael Strange told his father he was working on a will before he returned to Afghanistan. Why, Mr. Strange? Why was he working on a will?
Michael was home in June before he left to go over there. And the first time that he was in almost 8 years, he was with SEAL Team 6, almost 4, he grabbed me by the bicep, and he said, "Dad, I got a will." I said, "Mike, what are you talking about?" He said, "Dad, I'm not effing around." And da-da-da-da-da. Next day, we went over to his friend's house, and they had a pool and a big party. It was his birthday, June 6th. And he was same thing. He grabs me. He says, "Look, Dad, I'm telling you, I got this will written out." I said, "What's going on? You all right?" I said, "Get out. What's going on?" He's like, and he just looked at me. And then the last time I seen him was the end of the party, and he grabs me again. And he says the same thing. And then he stops in Fishtown at Aunt Maggie's house, my sister, and he talks about the will. And my sister says, "What's going on, Michael?" He said, "Something's going on with the team. Somebody's leaking some things out. Something's going on." But he wouldn't.
Oh my God! I got chills through my whole body right now. I mean, I really am vibrating right now from my head to my toe. I never have this happen on the show. In my 19 years, maybe once this has happened. Your son knew he was being sent to his death?
They knew something was up, and every one of them. I know you talked to the Vaughns, and the one guy, he used to tell his dad, "Make sure you got a lot of cold beer in the fridge, Dad. Don't drink it all." This time he grabs the father by the shoulders, looks him in the eyes, and thanks him for how he raised him.
Oh God.
Yep. Another guy from the team, Kevin. He tells his mom something, same thing. Everybody left a different way.
Oh, my God. They were all going to their last mission?
Well, they knew something was up. Something was going on. And that's why I thank God for Jason Chavez and Daryl Issa and Lou Gomer. They've been instrumental. Me and my wife been down to Washington probably 7 times with the Vaughns and Mr. Hamburger and Larry Clayman and Jet Lee's dad. Jet Lee was, they called Jet Lee, he was the dog handler. John Dugandera, because he looked like Jet Lee.
He was on the flight or what?
Yeah, he was on the flight. His dad, Sid was there. He was on the flight with Bart, the dog.
Now, why is the fact that why was the helicopter's black box not found? What do you think that's about?
Well, in October, after it happened, in August it happened, in October, General Colt does the investigation, and we're in this room, and he's telling us what happened, and he said, "I went through a chain of command." So I raised my hand. I said, "Got the names of that chain of command?" And his neck snaps, and all the bigwigs are there, all the 4 stars, and they say, they make a fist like it's in a book. They give us a book. They said, "It's in the book, sir." I said, "About an after-action report?" He said, "It's in the book." Then he says, I said, "What happened to the black box, which is really orange?" And he's looking at me, and he goes, "A flash flood came and washed the black box away." I said,
well, I heard that Christmas exists because I heard Santa Claus exists too.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
I found out that there's not only one black box on them Chinooks. There's one in the front, and there's one where the guys sit. And
well, look, you're the father, and I hear your wife in the background. Your hearts are heavy. What do you? I mean, what can I say to you that's going to not make you feel worse? Is the issue? I got to be very cautious here in this conversation. I don't want to make you feel worse than you do. What can I say that will help lift that pain?
Mike, if you can keep on your broadcast, keep talking about it, and help us demand answers. Obama's got to come. You know what I mean? I know you heard about me and Mr. Obama down in Dover when the bodies were coming in. He came up to me and he grabbed me by the shoulders and he said, "Michael changed the way America lived." And I grabbed Mr. President by the shoulders and shook him. And I said, "I don't need to know about my son. I need to know what happened." And I was crying and everything. And
oh, really? I'm surprised that the Secret Service didn't chop your hands off.
Nah, they grabbed me by the back. I'm a pretty big guy. Plus, I'm from Philly. You know what I mean, Mike? You know? And they grabbed me by the shoulders, and then Mr. President went to give me a hug, and I was crying, and snot's coming out of my nose, and I wiped my snots on his jacket.
Oh, bad. Oh, you're bad. That's good.
A moment of my husband.
What'd you say, hon? I want to hear you. What, Mrs. Strange? What'd you just say?
I said that's a moment that he likes to tell everybody.
You know, listening to the two of you gives me, I don't know, hope for this country, that there are still people left that could raise a son of this quality, that have such dignity as you do in this time of tragedy, and could keep your heads up in the midst of this horrendous hell that we're living through under this suspicious administration.
Unbelievable.
What about the so-called Muslim imam who gave an Islamic prayer? Who got the translators to find out what that imam said about the dead?
We've had the Vaughns were big on that. We've had over 8 different translators. You know, and they condemned our sons as the white devils, infidels.
Oh my God in heaven! Oh my God! Were they given a Christian prayer, or that wasn't permitted by Obama, Commander-in-Chief?
They were. General Votel was there with all the men. There was a couple hundred men. They were in like a hangar in Afghanistan with all 38 bodies, and then they let this imam come in and he's talking in Arabic.
But this happened in our country? This filth came into our country and cursed them in Arabic in our country? This throwback filth with his dirty robes?
This was actually a Bagram Air Force base.
In Afghanistan, that's what I thought. Look, I'm going to get worked up and emotional. I'll wind up losing my job in radio if I keep it up. I got to be careful because I'm at a breaking point right now with what's going on in this country. But to me, this is the last straw. I've been working on this for 3 years. It can't be as bad as you guys go through in one day. I understand that. But something's got to give. This farce has to come to an end. This charade has to be exposed. This clown has to be unmasked.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, they brought the Afghans over to Dover, okay? And
what, you mean they brought the families over to Dover?
With the Afghan flag. They brought and flew them on the same plane as my stepson and all them other heroes. Now
oh boy, guys, could you stay on about 3 minutes? I want to come back. You're listening to the parents of one of the SEALs, but not just one of the SEALs. They're all equal in the minds of America, but the people who, with the Vaughns, have been most vocal in demanding answers. I'll be right back on the Savage Nation. One of the greatest military mysteries of our time. And online with us were the parents of Mr. Strange, one of the Navy SEALs who was sent to his death in Afghanistan, a death that's suspicious, been covered up by the military, that's come to light today because Representative Chaffetz of Utah is going to hold hearings on this issue. And the parents will be back with us at 34. I want to ask them about Navy SEAL Michael Strange, what he was like as a boy, how they raised him, how he became a SEAL. I want to find out more about that, and I want the man to live for us. Maybe their bodies were cremated after being burned by the military, but their spirits will live on the Savage Nation today, and we'll talk more about this crime. I want to know why they were cremated. I want to know where the black box is. I want to know why the 6 Afghanis aboard were not of the same name as on the manifest. Who were they? There are no answers to these questions. But the biggest question to an amateur like me is, why would they put on a slow-flying sea cow like a Chinook?
5 and 9 a.m.
Every once in a while, radio reaches a new level. We're talking about a scandal even greater than Benghazi. We're talking about the death of 22 Navy SEALs who were sent to their death in Afghanistan. There's been no investigation. I've been calling for one for 3 years. I dedicated my novel, A Time for War, to this story, hoping to trigger some kind of response. And today I learned Congress is going to probe this crash that killed SEAL Team 6 members. With us right now is Charlie Strange, whose son Michael was among those killed. We've been having a conversation that is electrifying. Charles, welcome back to the Savage Nation.
Thanks, Mike. Really,
so, Charles, tell us what your son Michael was like. Let's let the people hear what kind of boy he was. If it's not too painful, I don't want to do it if it's going to, cause you too much grief.
No, but Mike, I would like to tell you something that it's going to be breaking news that I went over with Jason Chavez. Is that when it happened, August 6th, the Navy kept telling us everybody has to be cremated. Everybody has to be cremated. And in December, I called Dover and I asked for the autopsy reports, and they sent us a disc with the pictures too. And Michael jumped out of the helicopter. Michael was fighting for his life. I have pictures of him. And I showed them to Jason Chavez, and he picked right up on it. He said he was intact.
What do you mean? You mean he jumped out of the helicopter after it crashed? He was still living?
He was fighting. He had a gun in his hand, Mike.
And you have a picture of that, and yet they cremated his body?
Yes.
What sense does that make? Why would they do that? In other words, what would they be covering up if he was living when the helicopter went down? So they wouldn't be covering up that he was executed aboard the helicopter by the Afghanis. So what were they covering up?
Right. You know what that did to me, Mike? My son was there fighting for his life, and they didn't even send in the rescue team right away. I got it in the paperwork. They held him back. This was all planned, Mike. I have it in the paperwork. You know?
Wait a minute. Normally when there's a crash like this, they send in a helicopter to pick up the survivors or to help them, right?
Correct.
Okay, now there was no chase helicopter, no support, nothing?
Nothing.
So you're saying they planned to execute your son and the others on purpose?
100%, sir. 100%. Petraeus left 10 days after it happened. He disappeared to the CIA, and then Benghazi happened. Admiral Eric Olson, he left 2 days after the crash, August 8th. But you know what that's like to see my son? He was laying there with a gun in his hand. He was. I'll show you the pictures. You know. And then in the report, General Colt that did the investigation said, "Was there any survivors?" And the son of a bitch says, "Well, we have a 30 to 45 second video of a body cool down." So they watched my son die? That's what it says. I'm not military. It's in the paperwork. It's what they gave me. All I have is what they gave me.
So what, the general said that we have a picture of a body? That's all he said?
A video of a body cooling down. 30 to 45 seconds. It's in the paperwork. See,
I don't understand. If this helicopter was shot down by an RPG, as the military claims, your son survived that crash and was fighting to the end with a gun in his hand? Was he the only one who was there with the gun?
There was 8 of them that jumped out.
Oh, my God. And then they were killed by the Afghanis who were waiting for them? Is that it?
That's what it seems like.
Oh, God.
Jason.
Wait, hold it. It says, Strange says insurgents were boasting on the Internet they had taken out Team 6 shortly after the helicopter crashed. So they were boasting that after the craft went down, they were waiting for them and shot them up.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Well, this scandal is greater than Benghazi and there have to be answers to these questions. Look, you're not the only ones calling for questions anymore. The Ray Vaughn was on the show a while ago, and now he's going around. You're going around. Are the other parents going around with this, Charles?
We have probably about 9, because a lot of the parents can't take it, and then a lot of them, and this is the first time I'm going to say this in public, but a lot of them are getting threatened by the command.
Well, I was going to ask you that. That was the next question that was on my mind. Threatened in what way?
They told the wives to tell the parents not to go with Mr. and Mrs. Strange, or them checks could stop, or that the kid that don't have a father now might not get a scholarship for college. And then here you go, Mike. This is going to be in the paper. Michael got the Medal of Valor this week, the second highest there is. Right? I wasn't invited.
What? Who was invited?
His mother. I'm remarried. This is Michael's stepmom with me.
Why wouldn't they invite the father and the mother? What was that? Because you spoke out, you mean? You're supposed to sit there and just... You're supposed to keep your mouth shut? Is that it? Well, why would they want you to keep your mouth shut if they're so proud of the SEALs? What are they hiding?
Right. What did they know, Mike?
Yeah, what did they know, and when did they know it, and why did they send the Navy SEALs on this mission, which more and more, I can see why Representative Chaffetz is chomping at the bit to go with this. Yeah. Now, you don't fear for your safety, do you, Mr. Strange?
Oh, yeah, at times. My phone's tapped. I get different text messages pop up with numbers. You can hear them. You can hear them clicking. And
we've been threatened by the government, by the Taliban. Yeah.
The Taliban put on after it happened, after they killed bin Laden, that every SEAL Team 6 and their bloodline will be wiped out. It was on the Internet.
Oh.
We've been threatened by our own government.
And I've been threatened by the command. They should knock it off, Mr. Strange. And like they said, they ain't going to invite me to none of the events. And sure enough, my son gets the Medal of Valor, and they don't invite me.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's worse than I fear.
Yeah.
It's worse. Some nights I lay awake, Michael, and I say, is it my imagination running wild that Obama is playing for the other team and that we've been penetrated to that extent, or am I just getting taken in by all of this strange behavior and strange events? And then a show like this comes along, and folks like you come on the show out of the blue, because I didn't invite you. I didn't know how to reach you, and you were listening, or someone must have told you we were covering it, and then you called the show, and I ask myself, wait a minute now, maybe it's far worse than I think it is.
It is. It's a lot worse than what you think it is.
It's a lot worse.
Well, let me say this. I hope that Fox News has you on. They have a large audience. Have any of the producers of Fox News invited you on?
From my understanding, they were talking to our Larry Klayman, our attorney.
All right, good. He's a good guy. He's doing a great job. He's a bulldog. He's a bulldog. Maybe some of the good people at Fox News will cover this instead of Anthony Weiner's shenanigans. Look, folks, is there anything else you want to say right now? I mean, I'm trying to raise the awareness. That's all I could do. What would you like them to do at this time to demand answers? What can they do?
Have everybody call to Congress. Mike, please keep on talking about it. This is, like you said earlier, the biggest loss ever in the history of naval war.
Yeah, that's right. More Navy SEALs killed in this one mission than in the history of the Navy SEALs, all under Obama. And by the way, here's the part that bothered me. During the campaign, I begged the Republican candidate to bring this up during the debates, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't come on my show, and he wouldn't bring this up. He let Obama crow about killing Osama bin Laden, but he wouldn't say, excuse me, Mr. Obama, you were also commander-in-chief when all those Navy SEALs died. I told him what to say through third parties, and they would not even send him the message.
Of course not. Yeah, It would have made a big change in the voting. Because let me tell you, Obama bin Laden is no good, man. He knows. For him to say to me, Michael changed the way America lived, and then for the command guys to tell me, Michael knew what only 4 people in the world know. This is like August 10th.
Now, you're saying the president held you when you were crying at the funeral at Dover Air Force Base, and he took you by the shoulders to tell you how great your son was? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And then I grabbed him.
I want you to repeat to America what you said, Mr. Strange. What did you say to Mr. Obama?
Mr. Obama came up and put his hands on my shoulders, and he said, Michael changed the way America lived. And I grabbed Mr. Obama by the shoulders, and I said, I started to shake him. I said, I don't need to know about my son. I need to know what happened to my son. And I'm crying, and snot's coming out of my nose, and the Secret Service guys let go of me, and he went to give me a hug, and I wiped the snots on his side while I was hugging him, and I whispered in his ear. I said, how about a congressional inquiry about this? And Mr. Obama whispered in my ear, and I could feel his lips touching my ears. He said, Mr. Strange, we're going to look into this very, very, very deep. And he's never...
Now listen, let's be fair to the issue. He may not even know what happened. I wouldn't say he was behind this. Let's not rush to judgment. There could have been elements within the military he may not even know about who are responsible. I mean, let's be fair to the issue here. I don't like his politics, but I don't know that he kind of sat in a room and planned this either. Something's wrong with the picture. We got to get to the bottom of it. Mr. and Mrs. Strange, all I can tell you is that our hearts go out to you. I know it sounds like just a hackneyed tap that you're hearing, but you have changed America tonight on the Savage Nation. The only token that I can give you, I'm sending you not a copy of A Time For, which I dedicated to your son and all the other SEALs. Would you mind if I sent you a case of the books for free so you can give them out to your friends and family so they can then spread the message about what happened there?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Well, let's hope to God. Thank you, and God bless you for producing a son that you did, the son that you did. God bless Mr. and Mrs. Strange and all the other families who lost their loved ones on that helicopter that night. Ladies and gentlemen, I have no follow-up words. I have to sit and absorb. I have to touch my dog, and I have to think about what happened to my country and how we save it, how we save what's left before there's nothing left to save. I'll be right back. I'm a bit of an emotional wreck right now, to be honest with you. So I'll read the prologue to my novel, and you'll understand why I wrote it. It's 2 pages long. I tried to fictionalize what the men felt on that helicopter as it went down. Not having been there, I'm sure I'm off the mark. Tangi Valley, Afghanistan. Chief Petty Officer James Grant sat on the rattling red canvas seat among the 38 of his fellow SEALs as the CH-47D Chinook slashed across the dusty valley. He didn't really see the men sitting across from him, wasn't aware of the white sunlight coming through the big windows, washing color from the cabin, except for the bright red, white, and blue of the flag stretched across the roof 3 feet above him. Some genetic part of him was always aware of Old Glory wherever he was, wherever it was, however small or large, whether it was a grocer's lapel pin or high on a staff. But right now, ferrying the quick reaction team to a firefight, James Grant wasn't thinking of the present. He did what he always did when the uncertainty of the war closed in, when nothing was guaranteed but the present, this moment. I can't read it. I just can't read. I can't do anything right. I'm a wreck. I can't do anything. I'll take some calls. Truthfully, I'm a wreck. Jules in Florida, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Hi, Dr. Savage. I believe our SEAL Team 6's 22 bodies that were cremated to hide the truth.
Okay, but what is that truth? If we heard from the Mr. Strange that his son was a survivor with 6 others who jumped out of the helicopter after a crash and then they were executed by the Taliban, what's this about then? They were sent there as sacrificial lambs?
Yes, they were. And I believe that there's meaning behind the name of the mission of Extortion 17.
Extortion 17, the name of the mission. Who gives those names to these missions?
Well, it's generally dictated by computers. However, I would like to know who named this particular mission of Extortion 17.
Ma'am, you sound as though you know something. Ma'am, you sound as though you know something that you're trying to tell us. Why would they name this mission Extortion 17, a mission in which everyone dies?
Because that was the objective. That's what they wanted to happen.
So the enemy was extorting the military. They had something on somebody, and they said, you give us these men and we won't release it or we won't do something?
That is correct.
Now, you speak with a certain degree of certainty. Why is that?
Because I believe we have an enemy within, and I believe the enemy within is within our own leadership. And
well, you know that Mr. Panetta is no longer in the Defense Department. He did his job. He cut the military off at the legs.
Yep.
And he did his job and went back to his left-wing think tank on the West Coast. He served the president well. And now we have a new defense secretary, another Dr. Strangelove in there, who's now cutting the legs off altogether, leaving only a trunk.
So who's dictating this to, it rolls downhill.
I don't know. I don't know, but Representative Chaffetz says he wants to get to the bottom of this. God bless you. I'll send you a copy of A Time for War. As I said at the beginning, I'll say it at the end. I got an email this morning from Grace Vuto, who's been writing about it in the World Tribune. She said it's fun to win once in a while, isn't it? She said, you led the way. Your book pushed it forward. Isn't it fun to win once in a while? We've won nothing. There is pure evil. There is pure evil. Like a Dracula flying over America. Pure, unadulterated evil.